What's going on, guys? It's Asal, and today we are taking a look at the M39 Emr DMR. Now, this video is going to be a little less focused so much on the M39 Emr and a little more focused on DMRs and how they are currently performing in Battlefield 4, because honestly, I can't say that I've ever seriously picked up a DMR and ran with it for any decent amount of time. I've never really given them a chance, so I'm going to be doing that right now, and the M39 Emr is just the weapon that I selected because it seems to be one of the more popular DMRs. And what I mean by popular, I mean that if I am killed by a DMR, it seems to be more often than not that the M39 Emr comes up a little more often than the other weapons. So the M39 Emr, if you're not aware, it is just unlocked by playing with the DMRs. There are no special requirements to unlocking this weapon, and I will say it is a very nice looking weapon. I enjoy the aesthetics of this weapon. It sounds nice and it just feels good to be holding it in your virtual little hands. Now, jumping right into the stats of this weapon, it has a really nice large magazine size at 21 rounds, so it's really easy to get 2, 3, maybe even 4 kills with a magazine quite comfortably. I never really found myself worrying about having to reload like you do with an assault rifle. You often have to reload after every kill, which can be a little bit frustrating, but you really don't have that problem with the DMRs in this situation. So reloading was really never a problem for me, which was pretty nice. Now, the damage model of the DMRs is interesting. They do 45 max damage and 38 minimum damage. Now, what this means is that at any range, you will be achieving a 3-shot kill. If they are right in front of you, if they are 500 meters out, if you're able to hit them, you're going to be getting a 3-shot kill. Now, this is interesting because the time to kill doesn't change all that much from close range to long range. Sure, it does a little bit because you have to count for bullet travel time, but the time to kill doesn't really vary that much. So the time to kill at longer ranges is a little bit competitive, but up close, your time to kill is going to be absolutely abysmal. Now, it definitely does make sense that a DMR should be not as effective in a close quarters situation, but I found that in pretty much every one-on-one situation that I found myself in where my opponent was shooting back at me, I found that I was outgunned almost every time. And this is just because I'm using a semi-automatic weapon. I'm being suppressed. My time to kill isn't that great in close quarters, and his automatic weapon just tears through me while I'm still struggling to land my shots because I am suppressed. So it is a little bit frustrating when you are in a close quarters situation with a DMR. The question is, how do we deal with this high time to kill and the fact that we can't really win any gunfights in a one-on-one situation? Well, you really need to play stealth to make the DMRs effective at all. You need to be a sneaky little man. You need to throw a suppressor on your DMR. I found this is pretty much a necessity to use with the DMRs, because if someone sees you and they start shooting at you, you are dead pretty much every time unless you can get behind cover. Returning fire is almost really never a good option, because I found that in pretty much every situation, my DMR at close ranges really just was not up to a one-on-one engagement. So really what it comes down to is, without the benefits of stealth and staying off the minimap, you'll be outgunned time and time again. Surprise really is necessary to do well with the M39 Emr. If you see an enemy off in the distance, it is best to just shoot them with your suppressor. Even if they're moving, you might not hit them, but they won't know where you are. That's the benefit of it. And it's really great for flanking because you have a really large magazine size and you can sneak up behind 2 or 3 guys and take them all out with just one magazine, and they won't know where you're coming from. So it's really great for performing flanks on larger maps, especially because you can take out the enemies from quite a far off distance. If they are standing still, you can pick off some pretty easy kills, and if you can land those headshots, you're going to be having a wonderful time with this weapon. So of course, long range is going to be your best friend with the DMRs. Now, the bullet drop with the DMRs is actually half of what it is for every other weapon in the game. Most weapons in Battlefield have a bullet drop of 15 meters per second squared, which is odd because in real life, gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared, but everything in Battlefield is 15, so they've decided to alter gravity a little bit for balancing purposes, except for the DMRs. The gravity on DMRs is actually 9.8 meters per second squared, which is what the real life value is. So really, all technical jargon aside, this means your bullet drop is going to be half of what they are for every other weapon, making long range kills a little bit easier because you won't need to aim as much above the target as with pretty much every other weapon in Battlefield. But it really is hard to always be at ranged when you are shooting your enemies or playing the objective, especially on the objectives. Take a game mode like Rush. It's really hard to always be at a range, and sometimes, you know, you just have to get in there and get your hands dirty. And when you're doing that with a DMR, it can be pretty frustrating because if you ever want to actually play the objective, which you should always be doing, and you want to arm the objective and you have a DMR and someone comes up to you, more often than not, you are going to be gunned down just because you have that lower time to kill in those close quarters situations, and landing bullets with a semi-automatic weapon is not as easy as with a fully automatic weapon. Now, what I did to kind of combat this was I started using the Shorty 12 gauge sidearm. It's basically a mini shotgun, so when you do get in those really close quarters situations, you are still able to take out enemies very easily. Summing things up, the DMRs and the M39 Emr specifically were actually a fair amount of fun. I was doing relatively well. I was going positive. I definitely wasn't feeling like I was going horribly negative or anything like that, but it didn't feel as useful as I could have been using an assault rifle or some other automatic weapon. So the DMRs, I definitely don't think they're not worth using, but if you are going to be using at them, I do feel like you're putting yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage compared to everyone else, though I definitely think you still can have a pretty fun time with these weapons, assuming that you are using a suppressor and you are playing to your advantage, that being range. Now, of course, if you have found this video at all entertaining or informative, be sure to hit that like button. I always appreciate that very much. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I always appreciate that as well. Now everyone, this has been Asal, and I will see you guys next time.